Okay, define yourself first. I am the confident autistic, but you can call me Chris. And this is the Confident Autistic Live. The Confident Autistic Live is a weekly live stream where I interact with you, and you get to interact with other adults on the late autism journey. So, if you're new here, this is a space, a judgment free zone where we can better understand ourselves, discover resources that are available to us, and start living confidently autistic. That's the goal here. So, in the chat, please share where you are streaming from and what your plans are for Memorial Day weekend. I'll share mine are pretty boring, to be honest, okay? Not much going on. We have a lot of weather coming. We actually have thunderstorms predicted this hour. I'm not underneath any severe weather watches. We're not expecting any. It's somewhat cloudy outside. It's not raining yet, but it's going to be that way this weekend. I wanted a barbecue. I love barbecuing. I don't know about you, but I love to barbecue. And I would love to do that and not going to be able to. So this weekend, you know what? I have not really decided what I'm going to do if I'm not going to barbecue. I got to come up with a plan. But I'm going to do something fun because, this is my first Memorial Day. For those who do not know, without my wife, she passed away. And it's going to be different. So I got to find something to kind of keep my spirits up this weekend. But I'm going to have fun. I'm just going to be around the house during the weekend. So share what you're going to do on Memorial Day weekend with me. Now, tonight, we're doing something different tonight. We're doing a new style of these lives, okay? Tonight, we're going to build a list of 10 plus sensory overload triggers for us late diagnosed autistic adults. And this is going to be interactive. So start thinking about some of your sensory triggers and be ready to share them in the chat tonight. But first, let's thank our subscribers. We went up 3 this week. This is great. We're up to, whoa, I got paper stuck to my needle ball. Anyway, we're up to 355 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I sincerely mean that. I appreciate each and every one of you who subscribes to the channel, and it means a lot to me, and we want to see this channel grow. And you can help the channel grow. Let me get my mouse over here. There we go. By doing one of 4 of these things. One, if you would take a moment and like this video. Share this video. Comment and subscribe to the channel. Comment on this video. And if you have not already, subscribe. And when you do, make sure you click on that bell so you can be notified when we go live or when new videos are posted. There's going to be a lot of new videos coming in the month of June. I can promise you that. Okay. So your effort here can help us reach 1,000 subscribers. That's my goal. That is our goal here at the channel. I'm just reading the chat here from Vance. You're in Kentucky. I plan on resting that this weekend. Yeah, that's a great plan. Just do some resting. Downtime's important. Now, another thing I'd like to tell you about. Let me get me off camera here so you can use the QR code. We have a IO-free resource for you called Live Confidently Autistic, a guide to understanding yourself and building confidence. In this guide, you'll learn how to embrace your neurodivergency with pride, overcome self-doubt and build lasting confidence, and navigate life as authentically and unapologetically. And you can grab your very own copy, free 27-page copy at theconfidentautistic.com/start. And I'm going to put that into the chat here, the live stream. And if you're watching later, it's also in the video description. So let's get into tonight's video, or you can use the QR code. Let me disappear for a moment, give you a chance to use that QR code, and then we'll get going here. Now, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm back. And here we go. All right, here we go. Let's get into tonight's top 10 triggers for those of us on the spectrum. Let me get my list up here. All right, here we go. So let me explain how this is going to work tonight. I got a list of 10, count them 10, common sensory overload triggers. But I want you to add to the list throughout the live stream. So if something affects you that I don't mention in the live stream, drop it into the live chat. And you're watching in replay, just add it as a comment. I read everything that's posted here. I may not respond to everything, but I do thumbs up it when I do read it. So keep an eye out for that. So drop it into the live chat or comment what your triggers are, because chances are someone else here or we watching the video later will experience the same triggers as you. Now, a lot of us spent years thinking we were too sensitive, we were dramatic, or we're just bad at coping. I know I have. When really our nervous systems were being overloaded. So let's start by me sharing my 10 sensory triggers. And while I do that, share in the chat any sensory triggers that should be added to our list, okay? So now let's get started. Number one on my list is bright or flickering lights. Fluorescent lights, bright LEDs, flickering bulbs, even sunlight reflecting off things. For a lot of autistic adults, lighting isn't just annoying, it can actually become physically exhausting or painful. And many people don't realize how much energy they are spending when they're tolerating that environment every single day. So, what kinds of lighting bothers you the most? Lighting generally, it's the brightness that bothers me. I Now you see in the video I wear a baseball hat. It's kind of my trademark, but I wear it wherever I go, especially outside the house. Not always around the house because I can control the environment. But when I go into a store, all the bright fluorescent lights from the ceiling, that's just way too much for me. So I wear this to keep the light out of my eyes. In fact, this is the 1 hour of the week that's most painful because as I do this live stream, right in front of me is a light so you can see me, and it's like I would wear sunshades while I do this, but I got to tell you something. I wouldn't be able to read my notes. So I just kind of work through all of this each and every night. So each and every week. So yeah, that was our first one. Our first one is a bright or flickering lights. And I got to work with something here. Hold on. I'll just set that there. Okay, let's look at number two. Loud, sudden noises, sudden barking, sirens, crowded restaurants, multiple people talking at once. Sometimes it's not even the volume, it's just the unpredictability. A lot of us late diagnosed autistic adults become hyper alert because the nervous system is constantly bracing for the next sound. Now, what sounds overwhelm you the fastest or the most? Okay, for me, I was on a phone call the other day with a friend of mine, and he was getting inside of his truck, and he has a wonderful truck. It's a 1990s truck, so it's not as modern as today. So when you put the key in or take the key or turn off the engine, it makes a loud buzzing sound. It distracted me during the call. It's like, what is that annoying noise? So that bothers me. The other thing that bothers me, and I know why we have them. Okay, and anyone who lives in the Midwest would know this, the tornado sirens. Okay. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, I live literally across the street from a tornado siren. I mean, you look at my front door, you see the siren. And when we have an actual storm going on, it's a little bit annoying. Okay. I know why it's there. It's for my safety. It's for everyone's safety that's outdoors. But when we don't have a storm going on, they test it once a month. And that thing is like pain in my ears. Like I start yelling about 10 seconds. The damn thing works, turn it off. You know, nobody hears me but yelling, just screaming at it because it's so annoying to me. I can't cope with it. It's literally somewhat painful in my ears. Now, crowded restaurants and multiple people talking also is a sensory trigger for me. What I learned has helped me with that is um, when I would go to a restaurant, my wife would go with me, and she would talk to me almost constantly while we're at the restaurant. And I focused in on her conversation that helped me block out the others. Did not without a perfect solution, but it did allow me to go out to restaurants. And when I go to busy places, I ride the bus. I don't drive. I have no business driving. Okay. Autistic people can drive. I have no business driving. One, I am the definition of road rage. And two, there's so many things going on around me. It's overwhelming to me in the car. Okay. I actually am calmer riding on public transit than I am in a personal vehicle. It's weird. Anyway, but wherever I go, I have a blue set of wireless Bluetooth headphones that I have music playing all the time or relaxing sounds or whatever to help block out all that noise. Now, I've been doing this for years, and when I was younger, before we had the technology we had today, I like to crank my Walkman back in the 80s, back in the day, to the maximum. Certain songs like Susu Studio by Phil Collins, One Night, no, Rockwell, Somebody's Watching Me. I know what I was thinking about. Falco, Rock Me Amadeus, Amadeus. I'm not going to sing because one, I don't want a copyright infringement, and two, I don't sing well. But anyway, I would do that, and now I have tinnitus. I have a little bit of ringing in my ears from that. But hey, you know what? I wish I did not have the ringing, but I did enjoy that music. So hey, hey, maybe it's a good price to pay for that. All right, let's take a look at the chat here. We have leaf blowers. Oh yeah, those are annoying. Okay, they are. I don't like them that much. I'm not outside that much, but I've been outside when I lived in California waiting for a bus, and where the bus stop is next to a business, they got to take care of their property. The leaf blower is loud, and then you get leaves and all this dirt blown on you. Okay, it's just an annoying thing. But yeah, leaf blowers can be one of those trigger sensors. Having someone with me to focus on um, helps me to go places that I wouldn't normally be able to travel to or to tolerate. Yeah, that's basically the same thing here. I People who know me really well that travel with me. My wife did. I have a friend or two that we go out places, relatives, and if we have a constant conversation going on, it helps me stay regulated and distract me from all the other noise. Now, the third item on our list is crowded or busy environments. These can include grocery stores, shopping centers, airports, busy family gatherings. Now, I've been to all of these places and I avoid family gatherings at all costs, but that's another story for another day. Now, speaking of this is one of the topic of crowded or busy environments, grocery stores, shopping centers, airports, busy family gatherings. There's movement everywhere in these busy places, noise everywhere, visual information everywhere. Okay, it's not just social exhaustion that we are experiencing from this sensory trigger, it's sensory processing overload happening all at once because we're getting, noise, motion, and visual information simultaneously. Yeah, that does bother me a lot. Grocery store, shopping centers, airports, busy family gatherings, or anywhere with a lot of people. And I don't like going to a lot of places by myself. I'm having to do that now since my wife has passed away. But again, I have my hat on to keep that light out of my eyes and my headphones on to help me stay regulated in that environment. I love that. Now, uh, I get a little. I don't like people too close to me. Okay, I don't. I like that space around me and all. And since I have a incomplete spinal cord injury, I travel with a rollator, which is a walker with four wheels, or my scooter. I'm going to be getting a new scooter. We're going to be doing a video on that, I believe. Anyway, and that kind of puts a little circle around me, and you get that thing going pretty good. It parts the crowd instantly. I love that part about it. So let me ask you this. Where do you feel sensory overload the most? I would say for me it was stores, but I've learned to go during non-busy times of stores. That works for me. What about you? I also feel having someone with me to focus on. Okay, yeah, I've read that one before. Okay, no problem. I thought it was new. Never mind. Let's talk about number four, strong smells. Now, this is something that does trigger me. These can be perfumes, these can be cleaning products, smoke, or certain foods. And all of those things can trigger. Now, most of those things can trigger it for me, okay? Perfumes, yeah, perfumes I can tolerate if they're not heavy. There are some people, and if you're one of these people, I'm not trying to pick on you, okay? There are some people because you put perfume, you're a woman, you put perfume on, in about 20, 30 minutes, your nose, or even sooner, is used to it, then you no longer smell it, although other people can. So, people, this is my theory, people put on a bucket full of perfume so they can smell it all day long. Now, during that time, people around them are gasping for air. So, a little bit of perfume, I'm okay, but there's some people go way overboard, and there's some perfumes that I just can't deal with, okay? And cleaning products, they bother me a little bit. Smoke. Now, smoke for like cigarettes. Well, let's talk about this first. Smoke from fireplaces in the winter, that's calming to me. I love that smell. Smoke from a barbecue. Just thinking about that making my mouth water. I'll tell you that. Okay. Yeah, but smoke from cigarettes in the 80s, this is probably not all that uncommon for those of us on the spectrum. I had some mental health issues and I was in a psychiatric hospital for a while. And this is back in the day before we had smoking bans like we do now. And there were a particular room, it's called the day room, where you could smoke in it, but you had to stop 15 minutes before any groups that were held in there. So you still went in there, group, no one smoking, but it still had that smell. And because of some relaxation techniques I learned there, cigarette smoke can help me relax. Now, I do not smoke. I don't recommend smoking. It's not good for you, but it does have that effect on me. But sometimes it is so strong, it drives me up a wall. But the thing that really gets to me is food. This is my big trigger point, okay? There are foods that my wife has eaten that I don't know how she puts it in her mouth. Okay, and my mom does. I don't know how she puts it in her mouth. Uh, we used to go to there's a corner in the town that we lived in California that had a Subway next to a Panda Express, and in California most of the year you can eat outdoors. So I would get my Subway sandwich, love those meatball sandwiches. She would get what she wanted from Panda Express. And we would eat together, but she had to be downwind from me. Otherwise, the smell of the Chinese food, ugh, it just made me nauseous. I could not handle it. Okay. And another thing that bothers me, and my brother found this out and he tortured me with this. I cannot stand the smell of grape bubble gum. In fact, to the point that it gave me a headache. That painful gave me a headache. So those are some of the things that smells that trigger me. You can share yours in the chat. And let's just talk a little bit more about strong smells. Smells can completely hijack our attention for some autistic adults. For me, the smells like the food that I can't stand that my wife would eat made me really cranky, and I'm not proud of this, but I would blurt out things that were kind of mean in retrospect and saying, I don't know how you put that in your mouth. I have no idea how you can do that. Put that underneath your nose. I don't get it. But smells can completely hijack our attention for some autistic adults. And what's difficult is that other people may barely even notice the smell, while it feels impossible for us to ignore. Okay. I don't have, well, I don't know if I do have that or not, to be honest. Okay. But I know I smelled stuff and it bothered me. I think my wife smelled it at times, but I think it's affected me more. But yeah, the olfactory sense can be hard. So, are there any smells that instantly overwhelm you? Like for me, grape gum and Chinese food does that for me, and uh, items like that. So, if there's any that triggers you, let's share it in the chat. The smell of a cat litter box is too much for me. Oh yeah. I gotta agree with that because my job now at this house is to clean the cat litter box. And I put it off as long as I could, which probably makes the problem worse. A dirty litter box is, oh my gosh. Oh, it's sickening to me, okay? It is. And it's like I have to do it. And I do it, and I do it quickly. But I put it off, and I'm trying to teach myself, don't put it off. Just get it done first thing in the morning, and then you can enjoy the rest of the day instead of thinking all day, I got to do that damn litter box. Okay, we're about halfway through the list here. A fifth thing that could be a trigger for us is clothing textures or tags. Scratchy fabrics, tight waistbands, clothing tags, or certain socks can cause us to be triggered, or sensory trigger for us, okay? For me, I'm going to tell you about mine in a moment. So let's just dive into this a little bit more. A lot of us late diagnosed autistic adults spent years forcing ourselves to uh, tolerate uncomfortable clothing because they thought everyone felt that way, or to minimize arguments from your parents. You tell your mom, I don't want to wear that. And she's thinking you're objecting to that new clothing they bought you for school because you think it looks ugly. And it probably does too. But moms never got that, did they? But the thing is, you're actually objecting to it not because of the look of it or the appearance, but maybe the feel. So, do you have any clothing textures that absolutely you cannot tolerate? Share them in the chat, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. For me, there are two things that bother me. First of all, corduroy. I hate corduroy. My mom got me a pair. That was my least favorite pair of pants to wear. Not because it bothered me on the inside of the pants, so against my leg, but if I touched them with my hand, it was, oh God, that was uncomfortable. I hated that. And tried to tell my mom, and she just said, "Yeah, that's wearing." I love my mom, but she did not have a lot of sympathy, and she said, that's your clothing, that's wear." And I could not wait until I grew it, and I told her, "Don't buy me any more corduroy." The other thing is flannel. I don't like the feel of flannel against my skin. And, I won't wear a flannel shirt or flannel jacket or anything. Drives me batty. Okay. Tags generally don't bother me that much. Some do, and then I rip them out, and then I really regret that because sometimes I damage the shirt. And then when my wife was alive, she knew what size I wore. For me, if I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy a shirt, I got to look at the tag on my shirt and find out, oh yeah, I wear an extra large, whatever. Right? So that does become a problem. But there is one shirt I have that was sent to me. I was a guest on a podcast, can't remember which podcast it was, and they were so nice to send me a shirt. It's a really nice shirt, and one for my wife too, that promoted the podcast on the front, and on the back has a big heart that has different colors in it, and that you may have seen that kind of symbol to represent autism, and above it is my name on the back, and it's really nice. But I can feel that graphic that's on the back of my shirt against my back. And I just can't wear it because that drives me up a wall that much. Another thing that drives me up a wall is technically what I'm wearing right now, a shirt. I put this shirt on, and I'm not wearing my blue one today. This one says, "We can beat cancer together." It's in honor of my wife who um, passed away from stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. But most of the day, I run around this house without a shirt on. But I don't think you're quite ready to see that here in the video, so I wear a shirt for the video. But right now, I would love to take this off. I'm getting warm in it. It's uncomfortable. Okay, I got to stop talking about that. Otherwise, I'm going to just make myself worse, okay? Let's see. We have clothes with rigid seams. Ooh, that's interesting. I never thought of that, but yeah. I can see how that could be something that you're sensitive to. Yeah, clothing with rigid seams. I guess I don't really think about that. Most of the time, I wear t-shirts or polo shirts, but that's a goodish, good suggestion there. Good item. Yeah, I never thought of that. Now that we have made it through halfway through the list, we're in the back half now. Number 6 is unexpected touch. And this can be someone brushing against us unexpectedly, or sudden hugs, or crowded lines. Unexpected touch can feel startling or even physically stressful for autistic nervous systems. How do you feel about unexpected physical contact? I'm, let's see, I don't care, I don't like it. Okay. Now, since I've had my incomplete spinal cord injury, and I get around in a scooter or a rollator and all, and people know I'm physically disabled. Most people have the God given common sense. You don't touch someone who's physically disabled. You don't know if you're going to knock off the balance or you're going to cause them pain. Most don't. And most people will ask me first, can I give you a hug? Or that kind of thing. And uh, most of the time I say yes. Okay, because I don't mind hugs feel good, but just unexpected when somebody does not tell me first and does it. With the exception of my wife, it really drives me up a wall. I used to know this person that whenever he talked to me, he had to touch me on the arm or shoulder, and I finally, I feel bad about this. I finally snapped and yelled at him real loudly. Don't do that. And I feel bad because that's probably rude. I probably could have found a better way of explaining it to him. This is many years before I knew I was on the spectrum, but I don't like that. And I don't like crowded places because people are so close together, and that's common in school. You crammed in there like a sardine sometimes. But like I said earlier, with my mobility equipment, that could be that little circle around me where people don't get too close, and that works for me. But yeah, how do you feel about unexpected physical contact? Let's see, light emotional. Let me make sure this emotional touch and suddenly being touched is very uncomfortable. Yeah, it is for me too. I don't like it that much at all. I like a warning. I'm okay if somebody wants to give me a hug or touch, as long as I have a warning and I say yes to it, ask first. I ought to have a shirt that says, before you touch me, ask first. All right, let's move on to number 7. Too many conversations at once. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier tonight. Let me get this. I'm thirsty. But we're going to dive a little deeper into it. One conversation may be fine. 5 conversations happening simultaneously, completely different story. Many autistic adults struggle filtering background conversation, so the brain tries to process all of it. I'm in that camp. I told you about that with going to restaurants for me and going, even when my wife and I went to baseball games, her talking to me helped. But sometimes you watch a baseball game, you're both kind of quiet, just getting into the game. All that noise in the stadium after a while, I was like, oh. And sometimes, and I will never go to a football game, okay, because that's even louder there. The crowd gets so excited when the team wins or something. It is deafening and it's painful, and I don't like it. That's why I usually have, again, headphones wherever I go. Do multiple conversations drain you quickly? And when I say drain, I'm kind of thinking, do multiple conversations exhaust you, or you get fatigued or worn out from it real quickly? Because I know I do. I know I can't deal with it. This is why I like to have somebody with me that will talk to me so I can focus in on one conversation, or I like to have my music playing or something in my ears to distract me. I don't like listening to audiobooks because there's enough pauses in there. I can hear the background noise outside of my headphones. So I like listening to music. And if I'm really anxious or getting a sensory overload, I will listen to some of my autism playlists I found on Spotify. So that's how I cope with it. When I'm when I'm tired, my brain can be overwhelmed trying to focus on every voice. That's very true. Yes, that can happen when we're tired. It's even harder for I believe our sensory triggers are even more sensitive when we're tired, fatigued, exhausted. So that's a great point, Vance. Number 8, interruptions or sudden changes. Oh gosh, I could talk about this for hours. Unexpected schedule changes, last minute plan shifts, interruptions during a time that you're focusing. There isn't always This isn't always about being rigid. Sometimes it's the nervous system struggling to rapidly reprocess information. How do you sudden changes affect you emotionally or physically? It I get angry. I do verbally angry. Okay. And I get rude, I get snappy, I can have a mouth. And my wife would do this to me all the time. We were working on that before she passed away. I was working on being a little bit more tolerant. She was working on being a little bit less, well, as I like to call it, annoying. But she would ask me, "Oh, I'm going to go in the kitchen and make a sandwich." Right? My plan is, I'm going to go in the kitchen. I'm going to make a sandwich. I'm going to get out the bread, the Miracle Whip, the ham, the cheese, and get a knife out so I can cut and spread the Miracle Whip on there and cut the sandwich. And I'm going to put it on paper. I have the plan. Then and then I'm going to go eat it. And my wife says, "While you're in there, can you bring me a Sprite?" Okay. I wasn't on my plan. Now my plan's been interrupted, and I'm like, "Erg, I was on the plan. You interrupted my plan." I have little mini meltdowns over that. Okay. I'm in here working in my office, working on some stuff for the YouTube channel, or whatever, right? And my mom, who lives in the same house as I do, and she has more physical challenges than me, will call me on my cell phone and say, "I need an ice cream sandwich." And I love my mom, okay? But it's like, I'm working here, people, and then I have to stop what I'm doing and take care of that. And that this really irritates me. I don't like being interrupted when I'm focused, okay? I don't like it at all. And I don't like sudden changes to plans. That really throws me off. To the point that, let's say I plan to interview somebody for a podcast at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And at 2:55, I get a message from them. I'm sick. I'm not going to be able to do the podcast today. That's a sudden change. Now, I understand you can't plan being sick, but now I have this hour, I don't know what to do with myself. And I'm all stressed out and frustrated because I don't know what to do now. I had a plan, now it's destroyed. I don't like sudden changes to plans. That's just me. What about you? Sudden changes are very frustrating and stressful. I can't do it anymore. But I can do it if it has a purpose. I'm sorry. If it Yeah, I guess I could do the changes if there's a purpose to it. I don't want to, and I'm not always the most pleasant person to be around when that happens. I'll admit it. I am not. I can be kind of a jerk. All right, we're almost through this list. Number 9 is digital overload. This is constant notifications, multiple tabs being open, endless scrolling, video on autoplay. Modern technology can become a nonstop sensory experience. So let me ask you, does technology ever feel overstimulating to you? Uh, Now, I also have ADHD, so it does not totally overstimulate me, but it can become um, an annoyance and distracting to me and a sensory issue when my phone constantly goes off for text messages. So I've set up a schedule that at certain hours it won't, no text messages will come through unless if it's from one or two key people that I want to be in touch with, no matter what time of day or night it is. Okay. Um, Social media is just way too much for me. In fact, I'm going to be working on a video that's going to be coming out later in June that talks about why social media can be so challenging for those of us in the spectrum. But yeah, does technology ever feel overstimulating to you? Now, YouTube with the autoplay, I like to create a playlist of all these videos and sit and watch them. But autoplay is kind of fun. Like, I wonder what's going to come up next. The ADHD side of me, what's next? Yes. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I can't wait to see what's next. But yeah, that's where the ADHD and my autism collide. Constant media input is exhausting. Now, I'll tell you what's exhausting for me. That's a great point, Vance. What's exhausting for me is my wife would do this, okay? She would have a TV on in the living room, and that helped her. relax or distract her from some of the pain of the cancer. And I do not begrudge her for that. Okay. First of all, I cannot have a TV on 24 hours a day. That is with way too much input. I like having control of my environment where TV on a little bit off. I'm not a big TV person. Okay. I'm not, but she'll have that on. Then she would pick up her phone or her tablet and start watching a YouTube video. And I could hear both of them. And I explained to her, this is just too much for me. So so she learned to only watch one at a time. And if she forget, I tell her, pick one or the other, watch TV or the video, but not both, please. It's too much. But that's where that media gets to be too much for me. Multiple sound sources. Okay, number 10, our last one that I have, and then you have any to add, pop them into the chat. We'll talk about those. And number 10, emotional tension around other people. Now, this one surprises many late diagnosed autistic adults. Sometimes the overload isn't noise or lights, it's emotional atmosphere. It can be tension, it can be conflict, it can be anger, it can be stress in a room. Many autistic people absorb emotional energy intensely. Let me ask you something. Can you feel tension in a room almost immediately? I certainly can. Now, I got in full disclosure, I believe it's because of my autism. I really do. But I also believe it's because of my father. Okay, he passed away. My dad was a functioning, verbally abusive alcoholic. Okay, and when he entered the room, whether it be a home, whatever, the tension and the comfortableness of the room just shifted drastically. And I don't know, maybe it's part of my autism, maybe because I became hypersensitive to that. So I could kind of feel the room and figure out, do I want to hang around dad or do I want to get away from dad? And most of the time it was B, want to get away from my dad. Was not his biggest fan. I'll be honest with you about that. Okay. So yeah, I can do that. The thing that really drives me up a wall, which is kind of related to this subject, I don't know about you. And if you're the same way, you share it. So I don't feel like I'm the only guy doing this. Um, there are some people who talk to me and let's see how can I explain this. There's the people who talk to me and we talk, it's a great time, and the next time we get together, they're really quiet and withdrawn. Now I understand people have bad days and all, but when they're quiet and withdrawn, it causes me anxiety because I'm thinking, what did I do wrong? What are they upset about? What's going on? Is there a problem? Is there some anger going on? Maybe that's from my autism. Maybe because the experience I had as a kid with my dad. I don't know. And then there's some people who talk to me, and it could be anybody who do not use vocal inflection. Now, I know in the autism community, there's some of us who do not have much, if any, vocal inflection. I can deal with that. But there are some people in my that I know that have had vocal inflection, but most of the time don't. And they're very matter of fact, and they could be on the spectrum. I don't know, but because they are that kind of give me a feeling that they're cold and distant and don't want to interact, it causes me anxiety. I don't know about you. So let me check the chat, and if you have any I did not have on this list, let's put them in there, and we'll do that. Um, let's see. I absorb emotional content to a high degree, and it's just too much. Yeah, it's exhausting. I don't like being in those the situations where I feel a lot of tension. It causes me anxiety, and my anxiety has gotten to the point at times that others can see I'm anxious. And there's a few people who don't want to be around me, and I'm not mad at them. Okay, I'm not. Who may not want to be around me because my anxiety gets so strong. So I get that. I know it's part of who I am, but that's something that I have to deal with and that I do deal with. So let me recap the 10 that we have here and see if you can think of any that needs to be added to this list. So let me get up to numero uno, and we started with bright or flickering lights. Number 2 was loud or sudden noises. Number 3 was crowded or busy environments. Number 4 was strong smells. Number 5, clothing textures or tags. Number 6, unexpected touch. Number 7, too many conversations at once. Number 8, interruptions or sudden changes in plans. Number 9, digital overload. And number 10, emotional tension around other people. Those are the 10 that I shared. If you have any that I did not, put it into the chat now. Speak now or forever hold your peace. No, like to hear anything that I overlooked, we added to the list. And again, if you're watching this recording later, uh, put it in the comments. I will read them. Okay. And while we're waiting for anyone to add anything to the list, let me ask you a question. I really like to get your feedback on this. What do you think of this new format for the Confident Autistic Live, where it's not just me sharing information, but getting it more interactive and where you can help create a list? I really like this new idea. I'm trying it. We're going to do this all summer, I believe. So, yeah, I'd like to know, do you like what we're doing now? Because we're going to be doing another one of these next week, where I bring 10 items and we'll talk about them, and you can add yours to the list, and we can build a super duper list here. So, what do you think of this new format? If you like it, you send a happy emoji in the chat or whatever. Let me know, okay? Now, I think conversations like this matter, and the conversations we had tonight, because so many late diagnosed autistic adults spent years misunderstanding ourselves. We have. I did not get diagnosed until I was 58. And for years, I thought, I know there's something different about me. Is there something wrong with me? Am I defective? What am I not getting? Or why am I like this? And once I found out I was on the spectrum, which we're coming up to the 2-year anniversary of that, which I'm going to have a special video for that, by the way, uh, it made sense. But for many years, I misunderstood myself and I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was defective. Now, sometimes learning what your sensory triggers are isn't about limitations, it's about self understanding. So once you realize what your sensory triggers are, you can come up with strategies on how to deal with them. You know, like my strategy with crowded environments, restaurants, which I like to go to. I bring somebody with me that will talk to me and helps me distract myself from it. Also, knowing what your sensory triggers are, and if there's nothing you can do about it, then you can give yourself some grace and compassion. Be kind to yourself and say, this is just a part of who I am, and that's okay. And now, once we understand what overwhelms us, we can start building lives that work with our nervous system instead of constantly fighting against them. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. Oh, you like the new format? Great. Let's see. Unexpected visitors and phone calls are startling. Oh, yeah. I hate. I grew up in the Midwest. Okay, I grew up in St. Louis area, and in where I grew up, you did not go to someone's house unannounced. Okay, as kids, you go with your friends. Hey, can Jimmy play? You know, that kind of thing. But generally, as adults, you check first. You don't just drop in unannounced. Now in California, people that I knew there would do that, and it drove me up a freaking wall. I'm like, I'm gonna relax the TV tonight, watch a ball game, kick off my shirt, my shoes, just enjoy myself. Knock knock, somebody's at the door. Oh yeah, I came by to visit you. Yeah, and then you feel obligated to invite them in. It drove me up a wall. And so I get that. I do. That can be a sensory issue for us. Okay, it drove me up a wall, and it threw up my plans. And as we mentioned earlier, I don't like my plans being thrown off. And of course, unexpected phone calls. Oh gosh, I Jim Gaffigan. I like him. He's a really good comedian, and he was talking in one of his routines about he does not like phone calls. He doesn't like talking on the phone to people. I don't either. Okay. I don't know if that's common. Do you not like talking to people on the phone? If so, let me know so I don't feel alone. And he said, if you call me on the phone, you better be calling to tell me that both of your hands have been amputated. Because otherwise, just text me, okay? And I feel the same way. I hate phone calls, okay? I really do. Especially when they come at really bad times. I mean, sometimes, yeah, and I understand people need to get hold of me at times, but I'm now giving myself permission. Because usually when a phone call came in, I would answer it, okay? No matter what. Now, I stopped answering the spam calls. And I have a perfect system for this, by the way. Let me tell you my system that has really cut down spam calls, okay? Most spam callers will spoof a number that's similar to yours, okay? So you think, oh, is somebody in town calling me, okay? All right. So they'll use your area code. They sometimes even use the first three digits of your phone number. So you think they're in the same community as you. I live in the 417 area code. I don't know if I should have said that, but I did. Anyway, and my cell phone begins with a different area code. And now when the spammers spoof a number, I only know one person that has a phone number begin with area code 636. So when a spoofer calls somebody spam, it already is like, okay, if that's from a 636 number, more than likely that's spam, and I just ignore them. Okay. But yeah, that is get a cell phone number that's not for your home area code, and that really helps you identify spam calls. And by me ignoring them over the last few years, I get very few. Now, my mom, on the other hand, gets a ton of them because she would answer calls. I got her to stop because we have convinced her that if somebody calls you, there's a video out there. If somebody calls you and they ask you, can you hear me? And you say, YES, they can take that audio clip of you saying that word and then use it when they call other services to maybe get a credit card in your name or purchase something in your name or whatever. So we finally convinced her not every single call has to be answered. And I understand some people need to call me and all, but I've given myself permission not to answer the call if I don't feel like it. Okay. I just give myself that permission. Or if I'm busy. That's why God gave us voicemail, right? Okay. So let's see if there's anything else come in. Nope, nothing new there. Okay. So as we wrap this up tonight, if this video has resonated with you, do me a huge favor. Hit the like button so more people can find this video. Share this for somebody who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more conversations like this and other great videos that are coming. We're going to be returning the Adult 101 series where we break down autism for those of us who are late diagnosed and exploring and understanding this better. We're going to be doing video book reviews are coming up as well. Podcasts have been put a little bit on hiatus, and we're going to try to. I'm going to get that up in the fall. I'm not going to do it during the summer, but we're going to have that, and we're going to be starting to do some videos called The Confident Autistic Journey, where I share my life with you as an autistic adult. Now, what I like to do is this. I want to hit the right button. That's what I want to do. All right, I want to tell you about next week. Here we go. Join us next week as we will build the top 10 plus things that make life easier on our autistic journey. Together, we are going to be building a top 10 list live on the things that actually make life easier on our autistic journeys. And I really want you, yes, you, your voice in it, not just my ideas, yours too. So if something helps you get through sensory overload, daily routine, that could be maybe daily routines. Maybe that's maybe something will help you through communications, or just makes life feel a bit more manageable. Bring it with you. We'll shape the list in real time and see what we come up with. That's next Thursday, May 28th at 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, right here on this YouTube channel. And I'm going to put a little disclaimer there, weather permitting. Where I live, we're in the peak tornado season here in severe weather season. I live near Joplin, Missouri, and you may have seen this on social media. I think it may even be on the Weather Channel. I don't know. I don't watch TV. But it's been 15-year anniversary since a very devastating EF5 tornado that hit our community on May 22nd, 2011. So we're in peak tornado season. So we will be live next week unless we have severe weather. But if we're gonna have severe weather, I will post something in the community, and I will move this back 1 week. But we'll worry about that later. So until next time, I am the Confident Autistic, and I'm reminding you that we can live confidently autistic. Thank you for joining me tonight. Have a great evening. Oops.